Welcome to Just Men, a life-changing program that resonates hope as well as encouragement. The program that gives you information and inspiration for the glory of God. I'm your host, Jeff Tate, and thank you for joining Just Men. On today's program, we have a very special guest. Please join us, Clint Boyd. He is the president of Higher Ground Training, Inc. Clint, welcome to Just Men.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's a tremendous blessing for you to be on our program. It's been many years since you've been on. A lot have transpired since you started your organization many years ago. Talk about the mission and the vision for Higher Ground Training, Inc.
Sure. Our vision is very simple, and that is to help people. That's what we do, is we help to encourage people. And our mission is to help individuals to realize, obtain, and maintain their higher selves.
Wow, and I know that when you start talking about personal development, share a little bit about what are the various training techniques and training avenues that you guys touch upon in your organization.
We started our business 8 years ago, and we started off with one signature course, and that was called Survival Skills for the Workplace. And just to give you a little bit of my background, I have a BS in industrial engineering, and so I spent 20 years in corporate America. And my business partner, who is my wife and best friend, Elaine, she has a degree in environmental and civil engineering from Vanderbilt University. And so we both worked in corporate America for many years, and then 8 years ago we decided to start Higher Ground with the intention of going back to corporate America to teach people not only how to survive in the workforce, but how to excel.
Wow, that's beautiful. I know you touch on a lot of things in terms of personal development. Kind of share some of the training aspects of your organization.
Sure. We have different courses, but they all fall under the umbrella of personal and professional development. And so some of our signature courses are self-evaluation, goal setting, time management, achieving positive results, dealing with difficult people, leadership skills, different courses. And it's real interesting because, like I was saying before, when we first started the business, we focused primarily on the world that we came from, which was corporate America. But soon after we started the business, we started getting approached by colleges and universities, and they were saying, this is great what you all are offering to the business professionals, but our college students need to hear this message so that they'll be prepared to enter the workforce. And so we opened up our training to college students as well as administrative staff and faculty at colleges and universities. And I'm an ordained deacon at my church, and so there was an avenue there. And so we started approaching large churches as well to offer these same types of skills, focusing in 3 different areas. One is the staff. The second one, the ministry leaders for the different ministries, to give them some business skills. And then the third area, the college graduates that are entering the workforce for the very first time.
Wow, that's beautiful. I know something very unique about your program when I looked, and just reviewing some of the things and the impact you've had on all the various organizations, is that you don't use steps. I know most organizations have 8 steps to freedom and 12 steps to liberty and all these other things, but your organization seems to uniquely or have a unique approach to the development. Talk a little bit about your approach and how you see things.
Yeah, we never use this. These are the 7 steps to this or the 12 steps to that, because in the long term, people don't remember that kind of stuff. And so what our courses are more centered around are some practical steps that we can help to give people, so that, for instance, if we're teaching a class on organizational skills, it would be like you saying to me, Clint, if I could sit in your class for 2 hours and I just wanted to glean some pearls to help with my organizational skills, what would those 2 or 3 things be. And so these are practical tools and tips that we can give a person so that as soon as they leave that class, they can apply those tips and tools and automatically are more organized, a better leader, better manager of their time, a better team player on their team.
Wow. Is there any particular curriculum or training that you get the most requests for in terms of whether it's in personal development or it's, like you said, time management?
Absolutely. I think one of the ones that we get the most requests for is a class called Dealing with Difficult People. And it's so interesting because many of the people that take that class, they come in with this idea of, I want you to fix the difficult people that I deal with. But I started that class off saying that I've been to many classes on dealing with difficult people and conflict resolution, and I wish I could give you the magic formula to know how to deal with difficult people, but the truth is that you don't have control over anyone else's actions. The only control that you have is how you react to another person's actions. And so they come in trying to get this information on how to fix someone else, and the class is really about going inside yourself and coming up with ways to better handle situations that you deal with that are difficult.
Wow, that's beautiful. Take me behind the scene and how you have developed the mindset to develop all these various programs, like you said, on how to deal with difficult people and time management and self-discipline. And talk a little bit about some of your own personal experiences that gave you sort of the tool and the equipment to really dive into those areas and bring some practical solutions and most significantly some experience. Sometimes when I am going to conferences or going to some type of organizations, one time or many times they have a hard time connecting with me because they haven't been through some of the things that I've been through. So you share with me off the set about some of the struggles have been some of the most blessings or triumphing times in your life when you look back on it. So kind of incorporate that also in your response.
Okay.
In terms of
well, the way that we came up with the first class, Survival Skills for the Workplace, is interesting because when I was a senior at the University of Tennessee, and I was sitting in a class, and we had a professor, and the professor told the class that the days when a person graduates from college and then works for a company for 35 to 40 years and then retires, those days are over. That the employers are not loyal to the employees, and the employees are not loyal to the employers. And so by the time that you retire, you will have worked at least 4 to 5 different jobs.
Wow.
And so it's real interesting because the 20 years that I did in corporate America, I worked for 4 different companies. And so when Elaine and I decided to start this business, we started it on this question. If what that professor said is true, which was true for both of us, then what tools and tips can we share with an individual so that regardless of where they worked, regardless of what location, regardless of whether they were working for a Fortune 500 company, for the federal government, for another governmental entity, for a small consulting firm, what tools and tips could we help to equip them with that would help them to survive in any of those situations? And so we came up with Survival Skills for the Workplace, and that course covers 7 different components: self-evaluation, goal setting, time management, achieving positive results, maximizing personal growth, dealing with difficult people, and leadership skills. And so it's kind of a beginning to end of first understanding self and then gaining all of the necessary skills to eventually lead someone else to success.
Wow, that's beautiful. Is there a certain amount of time that's needed to incorporate or to capsulize or to I guess embrace these skill sets in going through your program?
The typical length of of our classes is 2 hours. And what we did after the first is real interesting. You really have to listen to your customers, because when we first launched our company, we were taking this one-day seminar around, and we were approaching smaller companies at the time. They might have a staff of 30 to 40 people. And so we would approach them with this survival skills course, and then many of them would say, "That's great, Clint, but I cannot afford to shut my business down all day. So if you could just suggest one or two of those, what would it be?" And at the time, this was my baby. I spent the time creating these courses, and so I was like, no, you have to take this precedes this, and you need to take these all together. And so they would say, okay, well, check with me next May. And so after getting turned down a few times, then we realized that we had to give our customers what they were calling for. And so what we eventually did was we took each one of those training courses and we pulled them out and made them their own individual courses that are 2 hours in length. And so we have now like a 2-hour goal setting class, a 2-hour empowerment class, a 2-hour teamwork class. And we have found that 2 hours is the perfect length, because it's long enough to facilitate group discussion. You can have some theory, practical exercises, but it's short enough for the busy business professional that wants to come in, get a few tools and tips on a particular subject, and then get back to work.
Wow, man, that's beautiful. Now it's time for me to shift gears on you and go to the level of you as the man behind your organization, and talk a little bit about your faith, your family, and friends. I want to dive into those areas, and particularly starting with the foundation of who you are as a man dealing with your faith. Share with me in that development of your faith and what has been. This is one of my key questions I generally ask men who has such a powerful organization like yourself, is what has been one of the greatest testing of your faith?
The greatest test has been building a business from the ground up, which it's been incredible in every sense of the word incredible. It's been incredibly liberating. It's been incredibly stressful at times, and over the course of the last 8 years, we've gone through some serious feast and famine seasons, and it's in those famine seasons, those are the times where your faith is tested, but that's your greatest opportunity to really grow your faith muscles. And so those are the things that the challenge is. It's like all of the things that we ask God to deliver us from. Lord, if you please just don't allow me to have to go through this. And then we start bargaining. Then I'll visit the homeless, and I'll visit the sick every Saturday, and we start making all of these deals with God, and it's like God just smiles at us, and it's His will to take us through what He thinks that we need to become better people. And so many times what I have found in my own personal life is that He will allow whatever that is to happen. But the interesting thing is that once He allows you to still go through the challenge, once you're able to get beyond the challenge and look back, then you realize that all of the things that you were asking Him to take out of your life were the stepping stones that helped you to get to your next higher self. And so when I look over the course of the time that we've been in business, there are a couple of things that are constants. One is the service. For some reason, I don't know why, but God has given both me and my wife a heart of service. And so you can look all through that period, and even in the times when we faced the largest challenges, we still were providing service. The other thing that's the constant are the challenges that we faced. And so when I look at the challenges, And I stand here as a better man than I was when I started my business. I realized that we are blessed not in spite of our challenges, but we're actually blessed because of our challenges. The challenges are the things that like I said before, they test your faith muscles. And so what we found out was your burdens become your blessings.
Wow, man, that's beautiful. How does your faith affect your family, and how has your family played an integral part of the development of the organization?
It's funny because a lot of times when you start a business, you can be faced, especially if you're starting a business with a spouse, that could tear a family apart. But I just have the type of woman that has always been right by my side, and I've always been by her side. And that's the toughest thing, Jeff, is seeing the people that you love the most suffer for something that you feel like God has called you to do. That's something that's not easy to face, but I realized that because we all were tested, and I have 2 children, and all 4 of us have been tested in this journey that we're on. And as I said, it's tough to see them go through the challenges, but what I see as a result of them going through the challenge is that they're all better people too. Mm-hmm. They're more human, they're more humble, they're more loving, they're less selfish, and it's all because of us going through there together. The last thing you would ever want is a situation where you are the person that's been given the vision, and so you're carrying on and you're following God's will to the letter, and your family members are complaining, but you keep going because you've been called to this mission. And then when you arrive, so to speak, you're here, but your family is here. And so because we've all gone through the fire together, we all are more pure together. That's the beauty of it. And so even though I hated to see them go through it, it's been a blessing.
Wow, man, that's beautiful. I mean, you know, in bringing some closure to our discussion about family and friends and faith, and one of the things I know is a challenge, especially with men, has been communication. So I want you to share a little bit on how communication, the significance behind communication, particularly as it relates to friends, and as well as keeping the unity of your faith and the unity of your family, and the communication with friends, how all of that work together in terms of your development. And then also, how does that play even in your organization and higher ground training?
Yeah, communication is key. It's very important to communicate with all around you, because everybody that you are attached to is on your journey with you. And so you carry those people with you on your journey, and it's good to kind of have an open book when it comes to the things that you face, because those very people that are on that journey with you can help to support you when you're down. And so if you're hoarding everything, then it has a tendency to eat you up like a cancer on the inside. But when you are an open book, and you allow the people that you love and the people that you know that love you, if you'll communicate with them, then when you are tapped out, then that's when they tag team and give you the strength. It's like the business that we're in is we motivate other people, and so we're constantly giving. And so if you're constantly giving, then sometimes you run out, and then it becomes the question of who encourages the encourager. And so it's at those times when I have felt the lowest, when I'm questioning, okay, God, what are you doing here? I'm helping everybody else. What about me? You know, those are the times when someone like my wife will come in and say, hey, keep getting up, keep going toward it. And that's very important. It's like I share everything with my kids. You know, I'll tell them about the business that I'm going after, and when that check comes in and I'm driving them home, I'll pass the check back there and show them.
Yeah,
And so it's like
good.
it's like when you communicate with people, it's like especially with your children, what you're doing is you're planting seeds in your children, and so it's very important for them to be aware of what you're going through, the good and the bad, because what you're doing is you are giving them something that they can hold on to, so that when they're faced with challenges, then they'll have the fortitude to be able to fight on as well.
Wow, that's beautiful. How do you balance that in our last moments? How do you balance that with those who you need to sort of stifle your communication or hinder or separate your communication with certain people because they are pulling you away from your goal, your vision? How do you do that?
I think it's very important to make your circle spiritual people, people with like mindsets. They don't have to do the same thing that you do. But what's been real encouraging for me is to meet people like you, Jeff. You know, we do different things, but we're on the same team. You know, we're kingdom builders, and you do your thing your way, and I do my thing my way. But there's plenty of room for all of us, and so that's been real encouraging over the years to find other people that are doing their things in their neck of the woods, and the total effect is that we're all trying to lift God's people. But you know, it's important to have naysayers as well, because the naysayers can push you to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, they can push you to the next level because you're like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I'm going to prove, it's not necessarily that you're trying to prove them wrong or anything like that, but they can put a little fire in your soul, and it might be the naysayer that pushes you out of bed and makes you make that one extra call in the day more so than sometimes the people who are saying, hey, you're doing a great job.
Wow, I tell you, service is so powerful, and I know that Mother Teresa talks about that the fruit of silence was actually faith, and the fruit of faith was peace, and the fruit of peace was love, and the fruit of love was service. And it's amazing how we move into service through love. Love compels us, love constrains us to look beyond ourselves and not place judgment on people, but to empower them. And that's been my greatest tool of empowering them, is love. And that's what your organization has done. It's organizing that love into a goal and a vision. But at the end of the day, it's an expression of God's love to empower them, one, to come into the knowledge of self, to come into their identity of divinity, how great they really are. And so when, as one of my other guests says, every time we have an encounter with another person, that is a spiritual encounter. And we should not take that lightly. And many times I used to say, oh, the naysayers, I got to keep them distance because they are pulling away. But like you said, many times they brought some humility when I've gotten so self-absorbed and ambitious and all these other things. But it made me take a look back and say, Father, are you with me? And I think that's the greatest thing, is the litmus test for me is not necessarily the naysayers, but it is God with me in this process. And then I know that I can love them unconditionally. A lot of those people come in your life, and God is testing your love, testing the power that's inside of you to say, you know, you say you love me, I love you, and I dwell in you, but you say you know me, but if you don't love, then I'm not in you. And so it gets down to, I can, you know, rhetorically say I love God. But then if I can't love you, even though you're spitefully using me, then there's something wrong with my relationship with God. And so I know I got to go deeper so I can love you. So you've always empowered me and encouraged me. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, man, that higher ground, learning is just and training is just amazing, and what you're doing, and keep doing that. Keep encouraging and keep moving forward in the things of God and allowing God to touch your heart. The last part before we close, you talked to me about service and how you do things even away from, Higher Ground Training Inc. That is not under the radar of your organization, but it's just the spirit of service, man.
Yeah.
Talk just briefly about that and what you do and inspiring others.
The service part is the key part, and it's like when the thing that you will always do best, you've been doing it all your life. You've been honing those skills all your life. And so one day I woke up and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And then I just looked back at what I've always been doing, always encouraging people, always helping other people. And so what I did with Higher Ground was just really build a shell around the things that I'm passionate about. And one of the things I've been very passionate about over the years is service. My mother has a heart of service. My great-grandmother had a tremendous heart of service. And so those chromosomes have gotten into me. And so I really enjoy reaching out to some of the non-traditional ports of entry into the workplace, like prison ministry, the homeless, the unemployed, the underemployed. It all counts.
Wow.
It all counts.
Man, that is beautiful. I tell you, Clint, we got to have you back on again and to share more in terms of Higher Ground learning and training and the things that you're doing. I mean, it's just so powerful. And so, I'm always, when I think about God's service towards us, man, I mean, he laid that at the cross, and he reconciled us and redeemed us. And he says, now I've given you the word of reconciliation. I've given you the ministry of reconciliation. Be ye reconciled unto God, who is the chief servicer. And he says that they are the ones who are great, are the ones who serve. So I say that, man, that you are great in the kingdom of God because of your service. Last word of encouragement for Higher Ground Training, Inc.
Thank you. I just want to encourage all of the people who may be watching to get with God and ask him what it is that is his will for your life, and then just stop and listen and hear from him. And then that thing, whatever he's called you to, he's going to empower you to finish it.
Wow, man, that's beautiful. Wow. Stay focused, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Man, thank you, man. Powerful, man.
Thank you.
That's good word. Good word.